Good afternoon, everybody. This is First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich. Here's a quick update on what's going to happen in the weather in the next 24 hours, and then we'll talk a little bit about the snow potential on Tuesday. This is the current setup right now. We've got the current satellite radar and temperatures. Very chilly day. With this thick cloud cover, we're going to really struggle to get much above the upper 40s, maybe low 50s if we're lucky. There is a little rain trying to develop east of here. That's why we threw that 20–30% chance in late today. A lot of this is barely reaching the ground. There is some mist being reported out towards Anson County, but not much more than that. This is going to have a tough time reaching the surface because dew points are relatively low in the 30s, but it is going to help in kind of enhance the cooling out there. Snowfall wise, we are going to see snow beginning to break out in Ashe, Avery, Watauga County here shortly. In fact, let's take a look at a couple of things real quickly here. Let's look at what's going on right now as far as the winter weather advisories are concerned. You can see currently we have winter weather advisories up for Ashe and Watauga County in the Tennessee line. Expect this to get expanded down to the south as we go into the afternoon hours. So what's going to happen this evening? Let's take a look at that Arctic front. We'll turn some of this stuff off. We'll turn the temperatures back on. But what I want to show you is the current temperatures up to our north and west. Here's the Arctic air coming into the northern part of the country. It's moving into Minnesota, North Dakota. It's going to be trucking down to the south and east, the Arctic front, almost to the Mississippi River right now. We'll turn this off and let's go out and watch this thing advance our way as we go into the evening hours. You can see the cold air coming south and east. I'm going to go really fast here to kind of show you how it's moving down here. And once the Arctic air arrives and moves into the Carolinas, it's really going to set up shop for the weekend. The coldest of the air arrives during the day tomorrow. So we're going to have a tough time tomorrow afternoon getting much out of the 30s. In fact, if I go in closer, you're looking at temperatures early in the day, probably in the 40s, but then falling like a rock. So by about 8 p.m., it's 28 in Charlotte, and in the mountains, you're looking at temperatures in the single digits above zero. So this is going to be brutally cold. Here it is. I'll scroll it back and forth a couple times. That's going back. Here comes the Arctic air, and boom, it's here. So what about snowfall? Well, let's take a look at that real quickly to see what type of snow we're going to see from this event. You can see most of it's going to be confined to the Tennessee border. Winter weather advisories up for good reason. This is going to be a dry, powdery snow blowing around quite a bit. I wouldn't be shocked to see the Smokies pick up maybe 6 or 7, maybe more. Even though there's not a lot of moisture, we've got a good connection to the Great Lakes. The lakes are going to pick up some moisture and deposit it down here, and that's going to set the stage for some pretty good snows in the North Carolina mountains. So we're likely going to see very efficient snowmaking, which means you're going to get a lot of snow out of very little moisture content. You see the Arctic high building down to the south and east. So what about early next week? Of course, the Tuesday event everybody's talking about because that's a little bit better chance of seeing some snow in and around Charlotte. Let's go back to our charts here. The first thing I want to show you is the snowfall forecast. This is Tuesday morning, and I'll move this over just a little bit so you can see it. What you're looking at here is what the models think is going to happen. So these totals right in here are not very impressive, to be honest with you. You're looking at totals that are probably maybe 0.2 to a half an inch. But all three models have something in here for Tuesday morning. This is a dusting, maybe a half an inch if we're lucky. The European model, which I showed you quite a bit yesterday, has backed off quite a bit. In fact, if we go out into the future here, we'll show you that system. And here it comes in from the west, moves into the mountains Tuesday morning, and then kind of falls apart a little bit. And that's also confirmed when you start looking at the GFS model here as we go into early Tuesday. Here comes the system from the west. And again, the totals, this is about it right here. This is looking pretty paltry right now. I mean, I still think we're going to see some snow, but just kind of like yesterday, I'm not counting on this being a really big deal. If you look at the precipitation types, it comes in as snow, and look how quickly it changes to rain Tuesday morning. So snow still in the forecast Tuesday, but don't count on a major accumulation unless something changes. Of course, I'll keep you up to date throughout the day and starting at 4 o'clock.